Cabin 13 Productions.
My homie, my dad, my lover, tell me...
Amen, brother. And then you start coughing up blood and you're like, oh.
I think I ate something a little foul. May not have been in season.
And then you just... bro looked up whale book spear.
Friends.
I'll send you a sexy pic of me, bro.
Just got the Snapchat bar that says, you up. Brent thinks he's a superhero.
What is Stonehouse, bro? What about it? Like...
I'm such a loser, sweating God on the worst.
Yeah.
One of the moments where I went up and started to go down, I have a podcast playing on my phone. I'm just driving like normal. I'm not scared. I haven't drinking or smoked anything, nothing. I'm completely coherent. And there is a moment where as I'm going down on the dip for the briefest moment, and I swear to God, there was a shadow figure that was a complete humanoid form, and he was in the middle of the road for half a second. I saw him like appear and then gone. And I almost pulled over. I was so afraid that I almost started crying. I literally had my jaw drop. Even
It's just...
the shadow being we saw in the car, or I saw in the car. Yeah,
it was like unrefutable. Like it was not like you had to question what you saw.
Yeah, it was a distinct, someone appeared and then disappeared in front of my eyes.
So as everybody knows, I am way more open and, well, willing and wanting for weird, unexplainable things to happen because it just fascinates me. Like, I mean, you're getting hella stuff that, like, I'm just not involved with. Like, I mean, even with the thing in my own car, I didn't see that. So, like, I don't know. We have it on video. I didn't see it. Like, I physically looked back when you were looking at it. So, like, I mean, to me, I don't think I am a part of it. You know, like, I think, like, you need to take me out of the equation, and I don't think it's me, man. I don't think I'm the one. I just would like to say, like, I'm kind of jealous that you, like, it's like,
Take it.
like,
You can have it. I don't want it. You saw it. You saw what I saw.
I saw it. I saw it for the first time.
Welcome back to the Woodsmen podcast. We're your hosts, Joey Rucker,
And Brent Murphy.
and another day, another starfish, my friend,
Patrick Star.
Patrick Starr.
100%. Fun fact for chat. I have a Patrick tattoo. From SpongeBob, obviously. not just some random guy named Patrick, I promise.
Oh man, love
But
that guy.
but yeah. I have a Patrick tattoo with a ghost tail because, you know, I love my spookiness. So if we ever at some point do like a Ask Me Anything or some trivia, or maybe even if we have a live or something, you guys can definitely I guess that, because I'll definitely be on a live or something, you know. Maybe I'd say we give you some merch, but we don't have any, so that's gonna be
one day.
Yeah, one day
when we make enough money to actually support that.
I mean, we 100% have the money. We 100% don't have the time. That's
or the people who would pay for it. You guys are so blind to that one fact. Because yes, we could make 1,000 stickers, but you know what that would get us? A box of 1,000 stickers sitting in our bedroom for a while.
I don't know what you're talking about,
We would
man. We
maybe
have some
sell
loyal
about-
fans. We have some loyal fans.
We would sell about 30.
Come on,
max.
bro. We got Italy. We got Japan.
No one in
we
Italy
got
right now is going to be like,
Australia.
oh,
Uh-huh.
oh, these.
These stickers.
These woodmen. I would like to buy all your stickers.
That sounds very German.
No, it does
and
not. That you're turning it into German by. Oh, is not German.
Uh-huh.
German is like.
But everything else was.
No, I can't do German. German's offensive.
Is it?
Well, I guess. No, I feel like German's one of those accents that you get in trouble for doing these days. Is it not?
Well, I mean, if you do the Hitler salute on
But that's-
national TV, probably.
I feel like you start to just delve into doing a Hitler impression when you start doing a German accent.
Why don't you do a Hitler impression right now?
I don't want to do a Hitler impression right now.
Why not?
Because that guy sucked ass. I don't really like that guy.
Nah, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
I don't know if I could do a German without like doing something.
You could do a German?
It's not okay. I'll just stick to the Aussies. They're the go-to.
On vengeance.
On vengeance on
Well,
the night.
Well, today's recording date is February 23rd, 2025. It's a Sunday, so we're finally on track.
Finally,
It has
dude.
taken so long, but we're
I
here
actually don't even remember when we fell off track because it's actually now
after the
been like
first or second episode, my man.
Oof, it was tough. It's been tough getting back, but
It's been a tough month, man. The month
Yeah.
of February, because when this comes out, it'll be March. So
yes.
we hope you guys enjoy it. We hope you guys have a good St. Patrick's Day too, because that's coming up in March. So we hope you guys enjoy that. We might have something cooking for that, but stay tuned. But yeah, the month of February has been crazy. Well, why don't we give a little recap without going too far into it? How's your February been, my man?
Long, shitty,
Painful,
painful,
mentally painful.
Honestly, just long. That's like the biggest thing. Working around the clock. Obviously, like some personal life issues. But I mean, we did get into GTA again. That I've been enjoying that.
We have gotten into GTA, which is
GTA is
fun.
kind of like the Hail Mary of everything for me. I've been enjoying getting back into GTA.
that's good, bro. I mean, I love GTA. I'm one of the OGs. Been playing GTA since the first week it came out. GTA 5. Whoop, whoop, whoop. But let me tell you, whoever's using the oppressor, I hate you. I hate you guys.
Wanted to talk to you about this. I think I may have figured out a potential reason why people just kill people.
Why?
There is actually an award or an achievement, whatever you call it, in GTA where you get the award by getting your sanity level to like the worst and then having it go all the way down. And you have to do that like 5 or 10 times, but it takes forever for it to go down. But
It takes forever to go up.
The fastest way to get it up, that's what she said, is to kill other players. You can also get it pretty high with NPCs, but you get the most like amount of mental instability gain if you kill other actual players. So I'm not saying that's why all these jackasses are going around killing us with oppressors, but maybe.
I mean,
maybe
you
they're just
guys have
trying
made
to-
it. You guys have made it to the point where I am back in like invite only sessions because I can't do it.
It's just
Can't
not
do it.
fun.
I hate you guys. It's not fun. It's not a fun time. Trying to do and y'all just come out of nowhere, like quite literally out of nowhere, because like it goes so fast. Like your blip isn't even on my little mini map, and then all of a sudden I just see this flying bike come out of nowhere, and then
yep.
my car gets destroyed every single time. And
Or an explosion goes off somewhere around you, close enough that your controller literally shakes. So you
Shakes.
know they're in the vicinity.
you're like, oh god,
but
they're
you don't know
here."
where they're
Yeah.
at.
You know, you guys just make my life so much worse than what it needs to be. But
Thanks a lot.
yeah, hate you guys, but love GTA. Love GTA.
Yeah, it's been a little.
We'll
bit
never
fun.
stop playing.
Fortnite too. Fortnite is
Fortnite,
kind of
this season's pretty sick. I
I
will
think
say.
Fortnite, GTA, and Minecraft are the games that I will probably always return to at some point.
Till the
Minecraft is
day I
weird because
die.
Minecraft is like I can go on long periods where I never play that game.
Years.
But then you get back, and then there's like I'll spend half a year, a whole year dedicating every ounce of energy and structural
Every
mindset.
fiber of
I'm
my
like, I
being.
will build a kingdom.
It never pans out either. You never finish the kingdom, but you always start
you
strong.
always end up building the cool stuff to make the kingdom, but you never actually make the kingdom. Like you'll build stables, you'll build farms, you'll build like
You'll build the walls.
yeah,
You'll build
but
the
you'll
walls
never
and-
have like the final infrastructure done. You'll never have the gates or the
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. It's a
but
great time.
GTA,
Great time.
I also kind of think is one of those games that you always come back to.
It's gonna be one of those ones where once you get everything to make the money, you're gonna stop playing it.
Pretty
and
much.
Then it's just
That's-
you're just gonna rack in the money. Those random once every 6 months, you're gonna be like, oh, I got a lot of money, and then you just
I just want
start
to
the
be able
process
to
again.
make decent big money in GTA, like regularly, somewhat before GTA 6, because I don't want to say that I never accomplished that goal. It doesn't have to be super regular. I don't need to be making millions every day.
You should hit level 200 before GTA 6 comes
God,
out.
I would love to. I've been trying, dude. I've been like gaining levels like crazy, but it's like also just like at some point you have to start buying all the rest of the items. Like you got to get the sub.
And I'd be spending too much money on cars, man.
Or Fortnite.
Or Fortnite, that too. You know, at this point, I just need to buy an $80 shark card because
That's true.
I
It's true.
I gotta do it at this point.
Yeah.
Like, if I want not the oppressor, the tornado, the
Is that-
water
is that the
car,
car? Yeah.
yeah, then I don't think I'm gonna make the money to buy it without buying a shark card at this point because I spend all my money on turbo tuning. You know, cool $50,000 for every car I have.
Yeah.
So it's a great time. Well, getting out of the GTA zone. Yeah, this month, full of trials, full of tired, full of just
The trials
mentally
don't ever
depression.
seem to stop
yeah.
for you lately. It seems like even as recent as this afternoon, things.
More like this evening,
This
like quite
evening.
literally an hour or two before we recorded.
Yeah, it's if any of you remember our first episode of season 3, I believe, because we were going to talk about the apocalypse.
Dang, you pulled that from the way back machine right there,
Yes.
bro.
Well, I only remember because our first episode was gonna be the apocalypse and like our strategies for it, similar in a way to like what we're gonna be talking about today, but just not apocalypse style. But then I told you that I had another encounter with my shadow buddy, and because of that, the whole episode turned into Joey's like shadow encounters.
Quite literally think this episode will probably end up turning into
Potentially,
it as well.
yeah, it could
Yeah.
very well go that way. I don't know how much time you want to either spend on this thing or if we're gonna come back to it. We'll see. But that to be said, any of you who did stick around for our viewing audience, you might remember this photo that is on screen now.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
That was the time that I saw a shadowy figure in Brent's car. We looked back, it was September 11th, 2023.
And want to know why we had to look back, chat? Why don't you tell them, Joey? Why do we have to look back to see the timestamp on the picture?
Well, because a certain someone may or may not have finally seen this exact thing once again, right here on screen.
Yeah.
So, Brent, my main man, my co-host, my homie, my dad, my lover, tell me.
Amen, brother.
You saw it. You saw what I saw.
I saw it. I saw it for the first time. Let me tell you, it's quite literally an experience I'll never forget. Yeah.
So I'll have the photos like on screen again, like just kind of a bit out of, not nearly as big, but just so people can compare the two together. When you look at these photos, you can see exactly why we both saw whatever this thing is. Skeptics, like I think we mentioned in that episode, like my cousin or just skeptics in general, will look at it and be like, that's a light, it's a reflection, it's a it's whatever. people will choose not to see it. But for those of you
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
do see what we're talking about, we have two things that look to be like lights and or eyes in the back of Brent's car, seemingly in the same area of the car
Yeah.
in both photos.
Yeah.
But the thing that's quite interesting to me is that they're not in the same place positioning.
It's not the same placement, and the car wasn't even in the same place.
Car was not.
Which is,
There's a
like,
lot different
more
about this
creepy.
encounter because the car's not in the same place. The car is not on. The car's turned around. I mean, I don't know if you had the garage open at the
Nope.
time, but the garage was
Nope.
open in mine. So there's a lot of things that. Oh, and then if you look really closely, I'll try. I don't know why I keep doing this to myself, but I'll show a close up of the two dots on screen now for our viewing audience. So if you're listening, make sure to go check out the Woodsmen on YouTube.
Yeah, because again, I got tired of saying it'll be in the show notes. We have no plans to get the show notes up
We're too
anytime
busy
soon.
trying to
I'm
get
sorry.
the Patreon back
Yeah,
on track.
we're trying to get a Patreon episode.
We'll work on the
out
show notes one day.
when we have enough time and money to build a website where we
Yeah.
can place them.
So, but if you take a look at these dots, another thing I noticed, I don't know if Brent noticed it right off the bat, was that the ones in my photo, I might get these two mixed up, but one was very horizontal in nature, the two dots, and the other two were vertical. So, I mean, it's literally like, it seems like either it could be a different entity in general, but the same species or race or kind
Yeah.
or type, or it could have just moved and it wasn't in the same positioning. Either way, it moved. It wasn't in the same spot.
It definitely moved. And, here's the thing. I'm a believer of everything, man. I'm, well, what is it? Guilty until proven innocent. Well, I'm like, believer until proven skeptic. Like I want to believe, man. I got it in my Instagram bio. I want to believe. I love the X-Files, like
You just gotta
like,
believe.
you just gotta believe, but I am a very open person to everything, right? Call that what you will. I'm a healthy skeptic too. I like when Joey first saw it. First thing I was like, because I didn't see it, I was like, all right, let's test everything out, turn the car back on, put everything exactly how it was in the picture. Nothing, right? Well, quite literally same thing happened to me. I for anyone that knows me, I don't really use the bathroom like a normal person. If I gotta go and I gotta go bad, I just pee where I can, bro. I just do it, I pee in the backyard, I pee in the backyard, pee on the side of the house, like I'm quite literally marking my territory. That's what I keep telling myself.
As a woodsman would
As a
do.
woodsman would do, which we'll also get into the woods play of that.
Yes, this
the
is
woods
true.
play, not the let's play, but the woods
The
play.
Woods play. Should be our gaming channel.
Yeah. Oh my god, that would be so sick. Twitch streams at the woods
Twitch
play.
streams at the cabin.
No, but I got back from a hike, and I will say we're probably gonna talk quite a bit about this in the pod, so I won't go fully into detail until we decide if we're gonna
Circle back
continue
to
this,
it.
But I came back from a hike. It was like what? Almost 7. Like probably 6:50
time,
or
yeah.
something like that. And we're currently recording at what? 8:55 p.m. So
Mhm.
very recent, almost like quite literally an hour or two ago. And I was like, dude, I gotta go pee so bad I'm not gonna make it in the house. So parked my car, turned off the truck, sorry, for people who care, but 04 Tacoma, but put the keys on my little belt loop and everything, and did my business. It was right in front of the car because I just could not make it. It was just, where I park my car is where we also have our trash cans and everything, so it's just right in that general area and everything like that. Zipped up my pants, buckled my belt, which,
You're really giving the audience like every detail. Dude.
well, yeah, man, if you're not watching, You guys got to paint a story if you're just listening. So
So he was sitting there buckling his belt.
barbecue sauce on my titties. No, but turned around and there she was. I would say the exact same thing as Joey did. Different placement, like you said. And you guys will see from the pictures and all that jazz. But different placement, same thing, same color. I think that's what's like
That is the weird part.
what's creepy. Because anyone, and like I said, I'm a healthy skeptic. I understand what it must look like. I
of course.
understand you got to be like, oh, there's got to be some reflection, some lights. There's got to be some lights in the truck, like all this stuff. And we even said, I'm pretty sure we even said in the podcast too, when we had first talked about this, I do have orange lights in my truck, right?
You made that clear.
I will not say I do not have that, right?
Mhm.
Something that could definitely look like a reflection. But one, they're horizontal lines, and these pictures are full circles. Like, I mean, you could definitely, it's very distinct that these are just circular. They're not lines or dashes or whatever. And then two, the car was off for this event for me.
Yeah,
the
that,
car
that,
was
that
off.
was the thing that was different than my case, was that in my case, the reason we were so skeptical about all the lights and signals that your car had was because it was on when I saw it. I mean, the photo shows the evidence of that, but in
Yeah,
your
the
case,
light was on.
so it could have been a reflection in
yeah.
my if mine was wrong. But so we tried to recreate that, but in yours, I mean, you had no lights on. The car wasn't even on.
No, and the car was facing a different direction. Like in Joey's photo,
Mm-hmm.
I had backed in to the parking space. This photo, I just pulled straight in, which is also different, which means you're not getting the garage view that you get in Joey's photo. This one's just completely
But I mean,
different.
that's also very important. It's important to think that with everything that you can see in the photo in mine, yes, it's one thing to go like, oh, was there anything on the dashboard? Was there anything important that you could have changed or manipulated? I mean, the fact that you can see it as clear as you do, the same way that you do from the opposite angle when there's no lights behind it, the same way that there was in my photo. I mean, the fact that the car was turned around is a very big, important detail in the fact that this was, well, I wouldn't even say replicated. I would say it happened again.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we have some other reasonings why we think this is pretty maybe not important. I would say it might be important to us for sure, but we'll get into that later when we get into the main show. But if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, stories, or inquiries on Cabin 13 Productions or our studio, you can go ahead and head over to the woodsmanpod@gmail.com.
You can also interact with us on Instagram or X at WoodsmanPod.
And lastly, you can subscribe to our Patreon for our candid, uncensored show, Back to the Cabin, at patreon.com/The Woodsman Podcast.
So let's dive into it. You guys probably don't even, except for the intro, maybe know really what we're talking about. So
We're talking about the woods, baby. So, if you guys didn't catch it from the intro, we're going to be talking about the wild. Welcome to Wild Week, guys. I know we didn't say that in housekeeping like we normally do, but this is the week where we take some time and we discuss nature. And sometimes it's not always going to be fun and pleasant. Sometimes it's going to be a little spooky. Sometimes it's going to be a little weird. Sometimes it's going to be
this
funny.
is Wild Week, isn't
yeah,
it?
this is Wild Week.
That is very funny how, I have to burp, but I won't because I'm a professional. It's funny how Wild Week ended up correlating with your stuff.
Yeah. We'll get into that later, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
will say the reason why we decided this topic. It is Alone in the Wild, and it's gonna be, like how would we survive in the wild? We did the apocalypse, we did all that kind of stuff, but how would we survive if there happened to theoretically be a plane crash? You have no time to get some gear. You land and you hope you survive. Like,
Accept my fate. Starve.
oh,
See the maker.
see the maker. I mean, that is.
I got a lot of questions, and if what,
And if you can't answer them, well, I'm already dead, so it doesn't really matter
Yeah.
that much. So,
am I gonna be eating berries, twigs.
and let me tell you, if the berries don't taste right, you're probably already dead. So,
Dude, I would not know in a survival situation. Like, if I was out in the wilderness and there were just different berry bushes, I would die. Because
yeah, 100%.
I would definitely just be like, no, these look fine.
And then you eat them, and you're like, are they supposed to taste that bitter, or
yeah.
is it just the sugar that we naturally add? And
The
all
worst
this
part
stuff from
of
the
eating
grocery
something
store?
terrible in the woods is the fact that you might not even know that you've eaten something bad until like a day or two later, when it really finally hits
And
the
then you start,
bloodstream.
and then you start coughing up blood, and you're like, oh.
I think I ate something a little foul. It may not have been in season.
And then you just, then you're done. You're done in like 2 days. You're done in 2 days.
Yeah.
Nah, first of all, I think we would do all right for a little bit. I wouldn't say we'd do
I would
all
need
right.
to drastically lose some weight. It would be good and bad because
No, I would say at least you have weight that you can last on. See,
It's
if
true.
I
It's true.
could not find or hunt any food, I'm going out in the first 3 weeks. Easy.
Yeah,
I'm,
but
like easy.
Is surviving living? Because you and me, we crash in a plane. We both get out. We're the only two survivors.
And
have
hopefully
to
we have
live-
no broken bones
to
or any
live- yeah.
lacerations that are deadly.
We have to
Like-
live on our own. We're eating whatever we can find or cook or hunt. We can't find anything, right? We're both starving. You die 3 weeks. Now I'm alone just because I'm fat. and I'm forced
And then
to sit with that.
And, and
I have to
eventually
live with
you
that.
won't be. You'll be skinny, but at what cost? What cost is skinny being worth it? Like
Exactly, dude. Like
you don't got a
wouldn't-
co-host no more.
Nope.
You got no show. You're just a bear. You're not even a good-looking bear. You're like oh, he needs some berries kind of bear. Like
get that fool some milk.
Get that. He needs some milk. Yeah. It's quite literally it's survival of the fittest out there, man. It's pretty crazy.
It's hard. We've had this conversation outside the podcast
yeah.
so many times, like about where we would want to survive, how we
See,
would
that's
survive.
why I'm so confused as to how we never had brought this up sooner.
I feel like we've probably mentioned it in passing.
It's probably
on
the
pod,
lost episodes where we had a
It
whole
honestly
episode,
could be. if
because
we're
I
being
feel like
honest.
we did probably bring this up at some point. But to move forward, though, one of the things that really, and I'll say, this was a topic that was really heavy on my heart for sure, mainly because I was planning out the weeks and I was like, we need a wild week episode for March. So what are we going to talk about? And the first thing that came to mind was the book series Hatchet. And I don't know if anyone has heard of this series, but the whole series, the premise is a kid, he's maybe 18 or something like that. He was younger, he was probably high school age.
Did I read Hatchet?
I don't know, did you?
I don't remember.
I mean, the book that we're gonna
get to it. I did
actually
read it.
bring
I can't
up.
remember if I got to Hatchet.
So there's a series based off of this book, Hatchet, and it's about a guy who he's maybe late teens. He's definitely not an adult. He was flying to see either his mother or his father. They were divorced or whatever, and he had to fly back and forth and everything. And this is one of the first flights he took where he was alone, where he didn't have anyone with him. Plane crashes down and and everyone on the plane died. Like everyone, he was the only survivor. And then the story just picks up there. Like it's just like, oh, I'm a man with no survival experience. I guess I'm gonna survive now, you know? And the whole book is just his internal monologue of him
Mhm.
trying to survive. But we had read the book in the series called Brian's Winter. And this book is one of those books where people say, like, what's the book that got you into your love of reading? This was probably one of the first books I had ever read where I was like, oh, I am invested. Like, I want to know what is going on. Was it like that for you?
No.
Got it.
But
Got it.
I do remember it being a big book back then for us at that age. For me, the one that really did it was two. One was a series, one was just a book. But
The Wing Feather Saga.
the Wing Feather Saga was
Yes.
a big one for me that got me actually like into the idea of, oh, books don't have to be boring. You can actually like see it in your mind, and it actually is really fun and entertaining.
You would love The Lord of the Rings, by the way. If you like the Wing Feather
I
Saga,
don't
you
know.
would thoroughly enjoy Lord of the Rings.
Because I read The Hobbit, and though The Hobbit was good, I don't know, because like, you seen the size of the Lord of the Ring books? This shit's so big.
I've read through one already
wanna-
last year,
here's-
and I'm halfway through.
Maybe
second
maybe
one.
this is too much to
The
ask
Two
for the
Towers.
reading community, but in my mind, I want a book that won't be so long that I know I'll never finish it. I know some people are so
Well, it's
invested
a novel,
into,
bro. It's a novel.
but I feel like there's a balance. Like, well, at the same time, no, because I was just gonna say like one of my favorite authors is Stephen King, and how I've always wanted to be like,
yeah,
oh,
they're straight novels, bro.
Some
it's
of
like
Stephen King-
600
some of
pages
Stephen King's-
plus. Like,
I'm just saying. Maybe I just don't really care about Lord of the Rings. Let's be
maybe, dude, maybe.
those movies.
Which is wild
Never
because
mind,
I'm
I don't
like, if
wanna-
you don't like,
I don't wanna
if,
give a hot take
if
on
you
that.
like the Wing Feather Saga, I'm surprised because it's so fantasy oriented. You know,
Yeah.
like
I was also a child. I wonder if I would actually like the books now if I went back.
I would say buy the read through ones where you don't actually have to read it, but it's like
Mm.
someone reading it for you, like an Audible. You know, those
Somewhere-
are way better because then you have someone like
Yeah.
acting out the voices. You
Mhm.
have like all the sound beds. It pretty much feels like a Seven Lamb Productions, like, story. So it's
Somewhere
a lot easier
in my
to get
house, I actually own the final Wing Feather Saga book that
through.
we
And you
never ended up
read
reading.
it. Yeah.
I just never got around to it.
I would
'cause
love
by the
to
time I
read it.
got it, we were out of school. It wasn't a requirement. I had to think about high school now, and I got a girlfriend that
Ruined my life.
ruined my life. No, but I was also going to mention though before we get back to Brian's Winter, the other book that definitely was like that pivotal, like, okay, books can be awesome. Was I don't know if you'd call it a spin-off. It was like, because I think the namesake is free to use. What is that term called? Like Mickey Mouse just became it, or maybe Winnie the Pooh just became free licensing or something, where you don't.
Oh, really?
I know Winnie the Pooh did. Like, it's a thing where, like, after a certain amount of years, if you're not paying the right kind of bills or something, like that property
Or you die.
or
and
die,
then,
like that
you
property
just-
becomes open.
Yeah.
You can't be subject to copyright laws if you use that name in your titles and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So the one I read back in the day was one called "The Thief and the Beanstalk," and it was like a like a not fan, but like a spin-off sequel written by a different author, where another kid who stole the beans from an old man who ends up being Jack from the original story
Oh, that's
goes
sick.
up the
Okay.
beanstalk, but it's like more of a horror version where like you don't see like a big giant and a goose that lays golden eggs. It's like spiders with baby human heads.
Oh no.
And I just remember
Oh,
being so
no.
invested, dude. It was like one of the best stories I've ever read. Highly recommend.
Wow, we are on such the different spectrum because
Yeah.
like after Brian's Winter, I hated reading after that.
Really?
But I will say the book that got me back into reading was The Count of Monte Cristo. And that was
Of course,
junior
yeah.
year of high school. And that book, I mean, it changed. I hate to say a book changed my life, but it really
Yeah.
did like fuel the fire in me
Mm-hmm.
of like, my God, if I was gonna get revenge on people, this is the book. this is the book to read, because my
Yeah.
man was wrongfully accused of murder and then got sent to like the worst possible jail imaginable.
Mm-hmm.
And he was illiterate. He didn't know how to read. He didn't know how to write. He didn't know any of this stuff. And he gets paired up with this hella smart, like, I think he was a priest or he was like a bishop or something like that. And he teaches him how to read, write. He teaches him astronomy, math, English, like all this stuff. Because he's in, like, this book takes place over like a dead ass, like a lifetime.
long
Like, it
time,
is a
yeah.
lifetime worth of like
Yeah.
book, right? So it's like he's in there for like 15 to like 30 years. Like, this isn't like, oh, I'm in jail for like a year and then I somehow break out. Like, nah, my man served a sentence. Like, he was unrecognizable. The guy dies. He hides in the guy's body bag. They throw him off
Mhm.
of this giant, like, because it was like an island.
Yep.
Threw him off a cliff. He somehow survives. He boards a pirate ship, becomes a pirate for years. He unloads off the pirate ship, finds a treasure. He becomes monumentally rich, like never told anyone on the ship about the treasure. Somehow comes back, gets the treasure. Like, the book is wild, but the whole rest of the book, like, that's like the prologue, guys. Like, that is like the beginning of the book. The first 50 pages was just the setup,
Mm-hmm.
because the whole rest of the book was this man making identities for himself and just fucking up everyone's life who was involved with imprisoning him, bro. Like, it is crazy.
Yeah.
He doesn't even end up with the girl that he was like, oh, this is my love. I'm engaged to her, all this stuff. She ends up marrying like one of the guys that was like monumentally the one that
unloyal.
sent him to jail. He doesn't even marry her at the end of the book. He ends up marrying like another girl who was like, I think a slave, or like she was like something where it was like, oh, that's interesting. Like, for the time, because you have to think of like when the book was written,
Yeah.
it would be like, oh, that's taboo. But like, bro just was like, nah, this girl was with me to the very end, marries her. She becomes part of the plot. One of the guys that he was a pirate with, he becomes part of the plot. Like, all these fools are like, we'll help you get this everlasting revenge for the rest of your life. People's kids murder themselves after all that. Like,
It's an insane.
it
book.
is a book. Like, if you enjoy a long read, because it is long. We read the abridged version in high school and it was like 600 pages. I think the full book is like 900. I was so invested that I was reading the Spark Notes to get the other chapters that we didn't get, because I was like, ain't no way this is happening right now. And I remember like comparing notes with our teacher and everything. It was just,
Bro, by the
wow.
way, Spark Notes. That was the back in
Spark
the
Notes
day.
saved my life throughout all of
Oh my
college. Like,
God,
throughout
yeah.
all of college. And I'm not even a graduate. If you would listen to the last episode, I still got 3 classes. And let me tell you, Spark Notes had saved
Spark
my
Notes
life
is
through
amazing.
90%. Like,
All these damn kids all just got AI these
and
days.
they don't get it. they don't get it. Nah, but let me tell you, that book was, yeah.
There was a story. God, I don't want to keep like going on. This is gonna be about like the woods and surviving and stuff. But one more story. I'm hoping you can potentially help me remember. I think you read it too. This is in high school. This was, I believe, for Falcons. It was a story about a guy, like the devil something. If it's the story I'm thinking of, it was the one where the prisoner was being recorded and he used, what's it called? What's that language called?
Latin or Morse code.
Morse code.
Morse code.
Through his eye blinking to say like SOS in the recording.
Oh, see, I mean, based off real life, right? Like,
Yes, it was based off real life,
I
and it
mean,
was
I
such a good
remember
story.
the story, but here's the thing: you were in AP history and I wasn't.
Did you not read that one?
Was it Fahrenheit whatever. Was it that book or?
No, I'll look it up.
I
right
know
now.
it's like it's like some famous like history book or whatever, but yeah, let me tell you.
When Hell Was in Session. That's why I thought
Nope.
it was
Nope, never read it.
never read it.
Nope.
Yeah, that's why I thought that it was Devil, because I knew there was like Hell or something. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's When Hell Was in Session, and such a good book. I mean, obviously it's based on a true story. Dude gets absolutely like tortured in prison in such inhumane ways. And
well, because it was I'm seeing Japanese on there. I'm assuming it's
I don't want to make claims that are false, but yes, it could have been some kind of. Oh, did he actually? Oh, he did the word torture too, like
that's
through
crazy.
Morse code. Like that's
crazy.
insane, dude. Yeah,
I'm assuming like the Vietnam War or something like that. If it's Japanese or
he spent almost 8 years in North Vietnamese POW camps.
POW camps,
just saying.
prisoner of war camps,
POW camps.
POW camps.
Oh, I hate that I read that
1966. Yeah, so what
Spelling out the
that's
word
that's
torture.
probably Vietnamese war, I would assume, or
Yeah.
Vietnam. You know, they're in the trees. Like I'm pretty sure that's the I'm pretty sure that's the war.
They're the.
Yeah, well, they were. I mean, were they not in the trees?
You right. You right.
Oh man, no, yeah,
Anyway,
I
that was
didn't
another book,
read
another
I didn't read that one.
You should
Unfortunately.
give it one. I mean, though it's obviously it's a true story. It doesn't put anything down on how just
Brutal. I mean, all that
what's
stuff
that word
was.
when it's intriguing. Intriguing the story is. Yeah,
It's fascinating. It's a fascinating story. Yeah, no, I'm definitely I'm always down. And it's funny too because I did say earlier like I couldn't stand reading, hated books, all that kind of stuff. But now I'm older, and actually
Books are so much
because
better
of this
now, yeah.
podcast, actually, I mean the amount of books I have consumed in such a short amount of time, or the amount of articles, peer reviewed, like articles. I read at least every other podcast 50 pages for the pod. Like it is ridiculous. Like it makes me kind of sad because I was the person who like read Spark Notes throughout almost all of high school to get through, but
It's again,
You
it
know.
goes back to Shameless Plug, Problem with Education Part 2. It just goes back to the fact that learning is not meant to be based on enforcement. It shouldn't be based on necessity. It should be based on like
things you actually enjoy.
because you will learn. I mean, the Brian's Winter, Lord of the Rings, When Hell Was in Session. These are all stories that actually stuck with us because we actually enjoyed them.
Yeah.
And we want to learn more about it or get into more stories like it because we find it intriguing. You shouldn't be making us read stories like, what's that one everyone has to read? To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember
dude,
a
and,
thing
like,
about it?
Here's
I don't
the
remember a
thing.
thing.
Here's the thing. I know it's an influential book in history. It's boring as shit. It is like
Someone had to say it.
But it's, I don't blame it because I also understand like it's a product of its time. It's written in the time frame that it's written in.
Bruh,
Like it's
I'll say the same thing about 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
oh
that sucked
that
ass.
book,
I
dude. Oh
hate
my
that book.
god. Like yeah, nah. What's the one about it's a pirate one. It's with the whale. The white whale. I don't know why I can't think of the name of it.
Why?
Oh man.
It's like, oh
I mean,
my
I know
God.
with the movie.
I hate you for
I
doing
know
that
with
to
the
me.
movie it was Chris Hemsworth. He was the he was the lead, but oh my gosh, please. Antique. What was the first
What?
thing that came up was antique whaling harpoons for sale. And bro looked up whale book spear.
Don't judge me for my.
wait. Oh my god. Oh man. It wasn't Free Willy. That's definitely not the book. That's a movie.
What was that?
Oh, Moby Dick.
Moby Dick.
Oh my
God.
gosh. What else crazy is the Reddit link is the one that gave it to me.
Yep.
Yeah, Moby Dick.
Bro, that was funny because like when you said Free Willy, I was like,
It's like, was it that?
was it Free? No, that was a dolphin.
No, it was definitely a whale.
Was it?
It was definitely a killer whale.
It was Free Willy.
They do a Free Willy, and then
I
like
thought it
it
was a
jumped over the.
dolphin.
No, dude, Free Willy was definitely a whale. Yeah, it's a killer whale, bruv.
Oh, would you look at that?
Orca whale.
It's an orca.
It was a male orca.
Dude.
Just thought I'd let you know.
Well, let's just get off me for the cams so I can hide in shame. Anyway, let's get back to the whole point of this episode. Brian's winter.
Yeah, it's not about books. It's definitely
all this
about the
went
woods.
onto a spiral because we got onto our favorite books. But this also started because we were talking about Hatchet, right?
Yeah.
So tell us, how does that kind of go into Brian's Winter, the story?
So Hatchet was definitely like, I believe it was the first book in the series that was like written, and then everything else was like, if it was out of timeline, it was written after Hatchet. But Hatchet was the main book, and it was just about, again, kid ends up, and I'm pretty sure this was like the start of the story. I know Hatchet was basically like him just living off the land type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But Brian's Winter really started. It was the sequel. It was the sequel to Hatchet. Basically, it explored the alternate reality of Brian, where he doesn't get rescued at all. Like, because he ends up getting rescued like in the end of everything. In Hatchet, but this is like Brian's Winter is a continuation of like, well, if he didn't get rescued before Winter, this is what ended up happening.
I don't want
Essentially,
to sound stupid because I genuinely don't remember the book as well as you might.
yeah.
This is a fictional?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Just a fictional like survival book or whatever.
Gotcha.
But basically, the main character, his name is Brian. Obviously, that's why it's called Brian's Winter, if you couldn't tell. But Brian must survive a brutal winter in the Canadian wilderness, which, we've watched a lot of Alone. There's a series called Alone, and that's like probably I would not speak for you, but I would say it's probably Joey and I's favorite survival show because of how real it is. It's very, there ain't no camera crews following these fools. It's like, hey, you get 10 items to take out with you, plus here's a backpack that's like 50 plus pounds of just straight camera equipment, and you're gonna film yourself while you're out here. Like,
that's the craziest
they
part.
get
about
attacked
that
by
show,
a
dude.
bear, and they have to film it. Like,
It's insane.
They have to film it. So it's one of those just
It's
really
a great
good
show for survival because you really, what did you already mention that they only get 10 items?
Yeah, 10
And then,
items, and they just go out. They don't even know really where the place is when they go out. I mean, obviously, if it's like them getting sent out in winter, they're gonna tell them like, "Hey, it's gonna be cold,"
But they give them a little bit of warning.
Yeah.
But like for the most part,
But
you go
essentially,
out
I
there-
mean, they take them out in a helicopter and they put them in like, I think it was like a 10-mile radius away from anyone else. Like on,
it could even be more. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a radius far enough away so that you really cannot find any of the other players.
Yeah.
You are on your own.
and they take them out like one at a time, so that way they're 100% alone. There is no.
I think the craziest season, one of the seasons, or maybe multiple, but I know for a fact one of them it wasn't about who was last to survive. It was whoever made like a
100
certain
days.
amount of 100
Yeah.
days, which is insane. I mean, to think about
Yeah.
really just how long 100 days is, one of the craziest.
People were tapping out the first 2 days of being there.
Yeah.
So like you have to imagine what 100 days out in the middle of nowhere would do to you. Like
It's an insane thing to think about, that not only is it just you having to think about, I have to eat, I have to drink, I have to keep up my strength.
but I gotta build shelter.
You
I gotta get
also-
prepared for the winter. I
You
gotta
also
get
have to think
prepared
about
for
your mental health.
Yeah.
When you're alone, truly alone, like people go into those deprivation tanks or isolation rooms, and they can go into those rooms for 30 minutes, an hour, and they will start hallucinating because they
Yeah.
are so alone.
Yeah.
They have no, like, oh God, I think the one I've always wanted to try is the world's quietest room, because it's supposed to be like
Oh
negative
man,
decibels or
we
something.
talked about that. I think
Yeah.
too. How long would it last? I don't think I'd last that long, dude. See, the
don't know
thing
if
about
I-
Alone that was just, it was one of those, hey, this shit's real, is the fact that they, the fact that they didn't even have medical supplies. They didn't have any of that. It
No.
was like, if something's to happen, here's your satellite phone,
Yeah.
and you call. And if you're calling, you're tapping out.
If you get bit
Like,
by a
there is no-
spider,
yeah.
if you eat like a bad fish, if you have like one thing that just your body can't
Yeah,
heal from it,
there are
you're
no
out.
meds.
There's
There
nothing.
are no meds. You have to tap out. And they do med checks. I think. Remember they
do
did med checks. I
but the
think
problem
every
with the
10
med
days or
checks
something
is
like that.
If
But
you are in a
unfit, they take you
unfit,
out.
They
yeah.
take you out. Like if you're too
Too
starved,
skinny. You're
yeah,
too yeah.
yeah. It's-
Sick. Like anything. And
Mhm.
it's just one of those like, ooh.
That's one of
That's
the
real.
hardest
Like,
ones
that's
to
real.
see because sometimes there are people who just look fine, but when they
They
get
take their
checked
shirt off or they take their
and
jacket,
you
and you're
have no
like,
idea they've been starving.
like they are
and
literal.
they're
bone.
broken inside. You can tell some of the contestants literally don't want to take their clothes off because they're literally like,
If I
"Listen,
take them off, they're gonna
send
pull
me home. Like,
Yeah.
you gotta understand. I'll find food. Like you
Yeah.
gotta believe me. Like it's so
and it's like,
sad,
buddy, when was
dude.
the last time you eat? And they're like 15 days. And you're like, what the? Like what? It's like, when was the last time you had water? 11 days. It's
11
like, how
days
are you alive right now? Like, how are you alive? Like,
most of the time they're like worms.
I've just been eating dirt to get the minerals and nutrients, bro.
I've been drinking sap off of the pine trees.
Yeah, dude, it's like, my God, that's not even healthy. When was the last time you started a fire? They're like, how long have I been here?
Yeah,
Because they haven't. Like,
that's the other thing, keeping track of time. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many aspects to survival
Well,
that you
I
don't think about.
I mean, I will never forget. The one that like actually made me tear up was the one season.
Are you gonna
I
talk
think
about the guy with the beard, or no? The
I
white
think
beard,
it was that season, but it wasn't him.
not him.
The one that got me.
I know who you're gonna talk about.
Was there was a there was a black man. He was the chillest guy. Like, out of all of them, he was quite literally, every time he would talk on cam, he's like, it's all about peace and love. It's all about, just giving it up to the creator of the world. He'll provide all this kind of stuff. And from the first day, I'm pretty sure it was like the first day or the second day,
Mhm.
he befriended a squirrel. And like, because he was just living off of like nuts and berries and all that stuff. And I'm pretty sure he was vegetarian or something. Like, he didn't eat meat. Like, it was something where
It was
like
something
he
like
just
he
wasn't.
would be willing to eat meat for the survival, but
But
like, his
that was
normal
just not
lifestyle
his-
is not. To
Yeah,
eat.
it was a very plant-based, very like
Yeah.
just live off the land kind of guy. And he was my favorite too, because I'll never forget, like, me and Joey used to, like, we would have watch parties. Like, he would either come to my house or I'd come to his house. We'd eat and we'd just sit there and we would watch this because we were so invested in, like, well, who's gonna win this season, And this was my guy. Like, this was my guy. He befriended the squirrel. Like, first week he was there, and he lasted for a while. I want to say he lasted maybe
lasted
like
a
30
decent
to
chunk of time.
50 days or something like
Yeah,
that.
he wasn't one of the first people out.
Yeah,
he
he-
wasn't like one of the last.
Yeah, he wasn't one of the last top tier people or whatever. And you could tell every episode they would show him, he would just get skinnier and skinnier and skinnier. And his mental health, you could see his mental health was just going. And he was not doing good. And he killed the squirrel that he had became friends with. And it was so detrimental to him that he called out. Like, I mean, this man would, like, this was watching a
Yeah.
grown man sob. Like, he just mentally broke. It was like,
I'm so
He-
sorry. Like he was
he
apologizing.
trusted
to-
me. Like, he was like,
Yeah.
he trusted me. Like, he trusted me. And that was like what broke me. I was like,
Well,
oh
and
my
see, 'cause
God, dude.
People
Like,
might see that and be like, "What is the big deal?"
but
a
it's
squirrel."
like, that was
You have
the
to think about
only.
you're alone on an island. You have no human contact. if you even get a little
That was
bit of
the
semblance of,
essential
like,
to like killing your dog for
yeah,
food.
I
Like,
mean, you make this thing not only a pet but like a companion,
yeah,
going around with you, feeding it.
he would see
like,
it every day.
every single
Every
day.
day, it was
And
there,
yeah,
and he would
so
show
to
it
say
every
goodbye to
time.
it,
Like,
especially after being alone and hungry for so long, it is a mental toll.
yeah, oh man, dude, and that's part of with Brian's Winter that really got me is like the mental toll that something like this, a tragedy that you cannot avoid. It's just something that happens,
Mhm.
because at the end of the day, these people signed up for this. They bulked up for it. I mean, the one guy with the beard. I mean, he bulked up.
He was very
He was
ready to
like
go.
250 to like 280,
Mm-hmm.
and then by the end, when he walked out,
Didn't
he was like 100 pounds.
Oh, you're
like,
talking that guy. I wasn't even talking about that guy with the
like,
beard originally. I was talking about
oh.
the dude with the white beard who does those TikToks like, "Can you make a shovel?"
Oh,
And he's like, "Yeah."
my man, Donnie,
Donnie.
my man Donnie, dude. Like, yeah, I loved him too.
His was sad because if I remember
his
correctly,
suck.
I think he just like
He
got
ate
hurt.
he
or
ate a
something.
bad animal.
Was it bad?
It was
Ah,
like the animal had a sickness or something, and he was like,
just couldn't get the virus.
he got
out,
like food poisoning and
ah.
everything. And remember, before he had a heart attack, and his whole thing was like,
Oh yeah.
this feels like I might, like I might send
that's
myself
right.
into
Mhm.
that, and he was afraid he was gonna die out there just because he thought he was gonna send himself into a heart attack, so he called out or something
Yeah.
like that. So, oh
Do you
no,
know
I
if there's
love
been
him.
any
I love
female
him.
winners on the show? I know there's been a lot of female contestants. I
Um,
can't remember if there's been a female winner or not. I haven't watched
yeah,
every season.
I think that one. There was one season where she was remember she was like tanning her own hides and everything. Remember she like she made like a whole bunch of like rabbit traps, and then one day she got like 5 rabbits in one
Oh
day.
yeah.
And remember she was like making like a scarf, and she made like a little like she made a whole bunch of stuff. Like it was like
That's
what
true.
the heck? Like I'm pretty sure she was the one that won.
Hmm.
But I can't remember. But yeah, there's some badass women out there that are doing that. I'm like, oh my god, I couldn't even imagine me doing it. So I couldn't
Yeah.
imagine, because some of the girls that were going out there, I mean, they were small, like they were like small framed. They were not, they didn't bulk up like some of the guys that do it. They'll bulk up like, I'm normally like 220, but I bulked up to 300 plus pounds to go out here, and then they
Yeah.
lose all of it. Like they lose all of the body fat.
It's a legitimate strategy though. Like I never knew how real that strategy could be until I saw the one guy do it, because I was like, dude, you're gonna be fat on this island. I know you
and you're gonna like be
you're gonna
walking
be
miles after miles.
exhausted.
Yeah,
You're not gonna be able to get any energy.
dude, shed the weight so
Yeah.
fast, dude, so monumentally fast. Cause like you're not promised to find food wherever they drop you. They don't drop you where game is. They just drop you, and it's up to you to find your own water. It's up to
Mhm.
you to find animals. Like, yeah, it's crazy. But I mean, again, going back to Brian's Winter, the whole story was really, again, it was based in the Canadian wilderness, which a lot of Alone is actually based out of the Canadian wilderness, because apparently shit is harsh out there. Huh? I don't know if you knew that, but it's pretty brutal out there.
Canadians, it's brutal out
They-
there. Eh?
It's brutal out there, eh? But he basically only had a hatchet. I mean, that again, the book name is called Hatchet, the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Whole thing is that he just found a hatchet that was in the plane, one of the emergency, whatever. I would assume probably like fire extinguisher type, like, oh, break the glass for this kind of thing. He just found a hatchet, and that was like pretty much the only thing he had, and he basically survived out there. And he obviously, again, like a lot of the alone contestants, he faces starvation, freezing temperatures, and definitely a lot of aggressive wildlife like bears and moose and all that kind of stuff.
And if you listen to our top 10 most dangerous animals episode, you know that moose can
They get pretty big.
Scary.
They get
That's
pretty
nuts.
big. But towards the end of the book, he actually eventually finds a family of the Cree culture. I think it's like culture.
Don't ask
You
me,
know.
dude.
But they basically they take him in, nurse him kind of back to health and everything like that, and they actually help him eventually get rescued, and he gets taken away. Yeah, so the Cree is like a First Nations. They're like an Antarctic kind of tribe, and yeah, so in real terms, because Brian's of Winter was fictional. They're from like Alberta to Quebec when Quebec is in Canada. Shout out to all our Canadian listeners, because we do have Canadian listeners.
We love all of you, eh?
Hey, we love all of you, eh?
This is probably the worst. I mean, I'm a little confident in our Aussie accent. You did a really good one a couple episodes back where you
just jump up on the moose, eh?
You just jump on the moose, eh?
And you ride them out, eh?
I don't think we're doing it right at
It's
all.
okay. It's okay.
A boot. They say
want-
a boot
I
instead
want-
of about.
A boot?
They say a boot.
Hey, what's all this talk all about?
Meatball syrup.
I'm pretty sure that's just French Canadian. I don't think that's
A
actually
boot? No,
all,
they say
all
a boot.
Canadians. I
Don't you know? Don't they do that too? Or is-
Don't you know? I'm
Why
pretty sure
not?
that's Wisconsin. Yeah, I don't think that's a Canadian thing, bro.
I thought Canadians say, "Don't you know?"
Don't you know, eh?
Oh,
So,
man.
anyways,
We just lost our
he,
3 Canadians.
he runs into a Cree family, and they eventually help him to get rescued, and he gets taken out of the wilderness. Now,
Well, at least he survived both reality encounters.
oh yeah, for sure. I mean, when you go through the rest of the series, I read quite a bit of the Brian books,
Mhm.
but he eventually he gets older, and he cannot live normally anymore. That's like in the books after he cannot. I mean,
What does that mean, though?
he gets home, he can't sleep on a bed.
Oh.
He sleeps on the floor. He can't hold any relationships with anybody. He can't hold a real job. He has pretty much essentially PTSD, trying to live a normal life. So he actually buys a plane ticket and has them fly him back out, and he just lives in the wilderness, and that's part of that's part of like the majority of
That's
the
actually
story
kind
is
of a
just
good- I
him
like that
going out
story.
and
That-
living.
That's a good story. As far
Yeah.
as like writing go, I think that's a cool.
Because he spent so long out there.
Yeah.
Because in the book, I mean, it spans a lot of time. I don't think it might not be a year again. We read this book when we were in like 4th or 5th grade, so I might be getting some facts wrong, but he spends like a monumental amount of time out there trying to just survive, that he just couldn't do it. He couldn't do
Yeah.
normal life anymore. So he just flew back out and just lived his life in the wilderness, which is pretty crazy. It's a way to go, for sure.
It's a way to do it.
It's a way to go, man. If you're gonna live and die young, you might as well live and die young, actually accomplishing some stuff. So, but that brings us to, before we get into the things that happened today. What if you could take items into the wilderness? What do you think would be some of your primary items, and what would be some of your primary objectives first landing down? Obviously, if you're in a plane crash and you land, there's not much you can do. But if you, like, say, were a contestant on Alone, what are some of the primary things that you would definitely want to bring, things you would try and stay away from, and your overall survival plan?
Ooh, I mean, that's tough. It kind of depends. Well, I don't know if it would depend on the environment, because, I mean, overall, I think I would need probably a tarp.
Okay.
A tarp that I could use for structure.
Yes. What? What do you want from me? For any audio listeners, Joey just killed it for you guys. He killed you guys' vibe.
Sorry, Brent distracted me unknowingly, and yeah. Anyway, back to your question. I don't know. I don't know what limit I have on tarp, but I would love to have some kind of thing I could potentially use for shelter or collecting water. Probably a knife. How many items do I get?
I'll give you 10 like alone. So you said a tarp, that's one.
A tarp. And what do we count as like tool? Because could I have a multi-tool, like one of those ones that's like a shovel but also a knife and a fork?
Yeah, you can have one of
It's
those.
like one of those like nicer, bigger multi-tools that could be probably a multitude of things, maybe up to, I would imagine, 9 different tools if it was built right.
Okay.
Just so I could have whatever ease of comfort for, maybe it has a ruler on it, maybe it has some kind of,
Like a level,
yeah,
all that
maybe
kind of
like
stuff. Yeah.
fish wire on it, like something like that.
Okay, all right.
So some kind of nice multi-tool. I would say I would like to have fire starter.
Oh,
So
yeah, that's a good one. That's a good
one
one.
of those nice ones. That would be very important. I think maybe, what are we counting as far as items? Does that count as clothes? Or over clothes?
I would say when you go out, carry all the clothes you're gonna carry on your person. Like wear them out.
But like if I say jacket or
Well, if you're gonna bring an extra jacket, then that would be off the list. But I'm saying like whatever you can fit on, like you can wear 2-3 pairs of underwear, 2 pairs of socks,
But does that
3
count to
pairs
my
of socks.
list?
No.
So
But you
clothes-
would just have. So I wouldn't count.
unless it goes
I wouldn't
over
count
the
clothes,
limit of
but-
like extra, then it's not going to go on the list.
Yeah, because I mean you could like triple up on jackets
Yeah.
depending on
Trying to think, maybe some kind of water filtration, like maybe like one of those, what is it called, the life straws.
Oh,
what they're
okay.
called?
Yeah.
I wonder if they make a better one than life straw, but I heard life straw
Life Straw's, like,
supposedly
one
is
of
like
the
supposed to be
biggest.
the best, like 99.8%
Yeah.
of all germs.
And imagine
and
if you
bacteria.
boil your water or whatever and then use the life straw.
Yeah.
Like I would say you're pretty solid.
Probably a fishing kit
Okay.
of some kind. So like even if like the
Like
tool
bait,
had something
tackle,
like
all
bait,
the-
tackle, hooks, string,
Yeah.
maybe not a pole, but just something, because I could probably either
You could hand fish.
Yeah,
you could hand fish. Yeah.
um
You got 5 items left, so you're doing pretty good so far.
low key. Oh, but if I do this one, I would assume it would probably be taken up by 2 slots, because I was gonna say low key I should probably just have a firearm. But
Okay.
then I was thinking, wouldn't that also mean that I'd have to have ammo take up
Ammo.
a second slot?
Yeah, that would take up a second slot. Unless you plan on only shooting like 6 times.
No, honestly, so what do I got? I got shelter-ish. I have fire, water, potentially did I say fish?
Fishing kit.
Fishing kit
Yeah.
and a tool. I'll go gun. I'll probably have some kind of like small handheld firearm.
Okay.
And then a pack of ammo. So that would be 2 items, like giving me 3 left.
Yeah.
Maybe it's tough to say. I feel like I'm missing out on important. Maybe how expensive can I pay for? Because maybe I could get like a satellite radio. Something that could contact, or at least something that could contact something really far away. But I don't know. That might be asking too much for a Brian's Winter kind of vibe. So
Yeah, like
it's a bit
let's-
much.
Yeah.
I'm
saying if you're a contestant on
med
a loan,
pack.
you don't.
Med pack of some kind of small bag, like
Okay.
boxer bag.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
has like essentials, gauze, maybe needles or bandages or whatever that stuff is called.
Yeah. No. I get you. You got 2 left. You
2
got 2
items
left.
left. I gotta go with. Oh, I got most of the important items. I'll go a little bit different in this last couple choices. I'm gonna go with a photo of family and friends.
You can have a photo of me.
I would hope. I mean, in real life, I don't really have many photos
I'll
of
send you a s-
family,
I'll
of
send
family
you
and
a-
friends.
I'll send you a sexy pic of me, bro. Something to remember me by. It's gonna be me posing in just my underwear at the beach, and then you got a question. Was I the one that took the picture of him, or like who took the picture on a Polaroid, bro?
Just got the Snapchat bar that says "you up."
Because I could just imagine the stance, arm on hip, just you up.
Oh God, dude. That leaves me with one.
It's got to
item.
have a
I've got
timestamp of
Brent's
like 3
nude
a.m.
as my as my 9th item.
Got it.
Survival. I'm trying to think survival.
You got one left. I'm surprised you didn't say this one yet. So
I've got tools. I've got water. I mean, I don't have a full water collection system.
that's not what I'm thinking of. But yeah, pop off if that's what you want to bring.
Food.
You can hear the gears turning in your skull. It's just the monkey. Just the monkey clapping the cymbals.
Oh. Really? I haven't said like a really important one or one.
Like one where like that's the first on my list.
I've got tools. I've got water. I've got food.
You got 10 seconds.
I'll
9,
go with
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
I guess I'll
1.
just go with like more
0.
blankets.
Okay, that's fair.
Because I was gonna say something for like food, like a thing to hide it from bears, but you can make that when you're out there.
Yeah, you
So
can definitely
I
make
don't
that.
know what I'm missing.
A knife.
I said multi-tool.
A
that
multi-tool is not.
It's gonna have a knife on it.
You said you wanted a multi-tool that was as big as a shovel, and you think you're gonna carry that around as a knife?
a blade. You want me to look up because they make those like.
Yeah, but how good are they compared to just a K-bar or like a? Hey, talk in the mic.
That. I know. I heard it when I said it. That's why I thought that, because I was figuring it would cover most bases.
Most.
It
Not
would have
all
a
of
knife
them.
on it. You say something while I look it up.
I mean, you have to give me your plan of action too. Like this is, if you're dropped off, what's the first thing you're doing? Or what are you trying to do?
Bruh, they make
Look, that has a shovel. What it has an axe head.
Okay,
There's
but
no
that's
knife
good
on
enough.
that.
You can cut things with an axe. There's literally a knife on it. For chat, I'm gonna show you the image right now on screen that I'm looking at. So you can see what I've just shown, Brent. This is
I can't
quite
wait for some
literally-
survivors to be like, "Oh, this shit is
God." Why does everybody think that this is gonna save their lives?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it would have like a compass and a box and some string. Maybe a flashlight would be on it, probably too. Listen, buddy, this is quite literally in my brain the exact item I was thinking of.
Okay.
So
see how long that lasts you until it breaks.
They make good ones. How much was that? That was
not that good.
This thing is literally
there ain't no K-bar in that.
Like
the
most expensive one is like $132.
That's not.
That's on eBay.
That's not
the most
good.
expensive
There's
one.
28 in one, and you're gonna tell me $100 is good? They make K-bars for $100. Period, by themselves. Like
I'm only thinking like Okay, but what kind of night? Okay, listen.
I told you a K-bar. That's what I just said.
I don't know what my plan would be. My plan would be very similar to what I think most alone contestants would say, is that right off the bat, I think you would have to start on shelter first, get going, a place to sleep at night under a roof of some kind, so that in case there's rain or storm, you can be covered by that. I think day 2 or 3, you got to be either finishing up the shelter, or you got to start working on your plan for food. No, probably water. I think water would be your first one, because
Water's definitely the first
water
one.
is the first one. I think you can last maybe a day. If you can dedicate your first day to
I think you have 3 days before you like.
you can survive 7 days if I'm correct, but you won't be a healthy, happy human.
Yeah, but that's if you're not like that active too. You got to think like you're
Yeah.
hiking like 10 plus miles or something. Like you're gonna
True.
need water. You're gonna need a
True.
water.
So no, yeah, I would spend day 1, just get some kind of shelter going. It doesn't have to be your perfect shelter. It doesn't have to be finalized. You just need to have something that you can sleep in. In my case, with my tools, I'd probably try and make some kind of what is it called? The A tent, or is it? There's
Oh yeah, like an A-frame.
A-frame
Yeah.
kind of thing going, something like that, or just like use sticks and branches to make just some kind of covering, and then I could use the tarp for more shelter from
As
the
a
environment.
blanket.
No, not as a blanket. Uses my tarp for a blanket. Nah. But then so then second day is all about water. Probably find a stream or something. I mean, we've literally drinking out of that river in is that considered a river?
Stream.
That's
I
a
would say
stream.
it's a stream. Yeah.
The stream at Heart Rock.
And that water was
damn
so good, bro.
Oh,
It was so cold. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, man.
so hopefully find some kind of fresh source of water, and you utilize that with the life straw. Day 3, all about food. I don't know how to set traps, but hopefully before I
You
end up
should
on
have
this
put
plane,
you should have put a trap book or a survival book
I
in
think
your
I could-
in your pack.
I could figure it out.
Okay.
I could figure it out. You hit a string that's held up barely by something with a rock.
Yeah, so you can kill a squirrel with like 30 calories in it. Like
I didn't bring a bow.
no, you
didn't.
brought no weapons. You
I have a
brought
gun.
no weapons.
I have a gun and I have ammo. Takes one clean shot to a moose.
Yeah, but you
and
also
I'm
have to
eating
remember
for months.
you also have to remember you take a shot, you're scaring every single
I'm
game
aware.
around.
It was a bad.
away.
I know. I'm with you on that one. It was a bad call for the gun. But I honestly I blame that on forgetting that bow and arrows were a thing. Because thinking about it now, I hate myself. Because a bow and arrow would be great to utilize at the end of the day. If you do lose your ammo, you can likely make more arrows, makeshift ones at that. As long as your bow doesn't snap. But I mean, again, you're right. The gun does set off loud noises. It might be good to scare off a predator potentially, but it would also be very bad for scaring off what you need for food. So
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, other than that, it's basically just survival. Survive what you can going forward. Just make sure you can keep your food going. Make sure that you can keep the water going. I don't know if we're talking Brian's winter aspects or if we're talking alone aspects. Like, am I searching for rescue, or am I like rescue will come at the end of a certain amount of days?
Yeah, I'm gonna say like just think of it like you're not gonna be fully stranded or you can't do anything. I would say like within a certain amount of time.
So then, I think I
help
would
will
just
come.
hopefully worry about shelter first day.
Because that's a whole other thing. Because then it's like I don't
Yeah.
even want a shelter that I have to sit here and last on.
I think
because I'm gonna
shelter
be too
should be your
focused on
first
leaving.
thing to work on right off the bat, just so you have a place to go, a main home point. But then your first week should be water and food, and then after that, then you can start working more on building up your structure.
Yeah.
Maybe making a fireplace, like I've seen some people do. to keep you warm. I mean, you got to also make sure that your fire's good. You got to make sure that you're safe. Bear spray would have been a good one too. Damn.
You're
But-
literally the bear, bro.
Yeah, I think that's kind of my game plan. So, please, sir, tell me what your 10 items would be, how your plan
Well,
compares to mine.
you know, I already mentioned Lord of the Rings, so I'm going full ranger out here. I'm going to say first item, wool cloak, because then that would serve as not only a jacket, but that would serve as a blanket. So there's one item right there. Bow and arrows, for sure. I don't know if that counts as 1 or 2 items, but
I think if ammo counts for
Okay.
gun, I think you're gonna have to have
arrows,
your amount of arrows will be
Yeah.
your second item.
I'm
or
gonna say
third.
I'm gonna say a really reliable knife, for sure. Medkit, easy. That's like one of the ones. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like if something happens, you're you're done.
You're
like you
toast.
know you're done. So that's 5 items already. See, it's hard because there's a lot of things that you.
Oh, is
could,
it?
You know, you could. There's a lot of things you could do.
Yeah.
Some sort of water filtration system. I don't know, like what it would be. Maybe not life straw. Maybe something else. Maybe like those bag ones where you like
Yeah.
put the water in there and you.
Well, that's where
let
I
it
was
all
at.
sink to
I
the
if I had
bottom, you
time
know,
to
like-
prepare, I would just do research on what the best one is. I said live straw
Yeah.
just because that's
Yeah.
the one everyone.
And
thinks of.
I only think of the big old pack because that holds more water,
Mhm.
so you could like hold it and
could
carry
store
it.
it,
You know,
carry it,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm gonna say an axe or a hatchet.
Okay.
For sure. Because you can use an axe also to dig. You don't just need a shovel. You know.
You're missing one
Um,
on my list that I think was essential already as well, in my opinion. Just to give you the same you put me through. mentally.
okay, that's fair. That's fair.
You got 3 items left.
See, I wouldn't say fishing gear, mainly because like if I'm fishing, I would spearfish.
That's fair.
I don't
That's
think
fair.
I would do
And
like
you could make spears.
from
know,
just a
yeah.
stick, you know. So I
No, that's
think
fair.
I'd be all right with that. I mean, beef jerky. So at least I can start with food.
Okay. No,
You know?
I mean,
Like,
that's
so
a
at least I
strategy.
can
That's
start
a
with
strategy.
food. Like then I'm not like worried
Right off
about
the bat,
food.
having
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
my nudes.
Yeah, obviously, obviously.
One of my items was a photo. So
Yeah, that is true.
so
That is
it's a
true. See,
waste on mine.
I got 2 items left. It's definitely not gonna be a photo of anybody. Like, I love my girlfriend. I love you.
You don't want a spicy photo of me in the shower.
Oh, it's a shower pic. That's different.
Soapy.
Oh, I might have to use an item. I would say. Oh man, this is hard because I have 2 items, and I'm like, I feel like I have some like essentials that I can get by with, but like,
I think there's one essential that you have not said.
a sleeping mat.
That's fair. I'd be sleeping in leaves.
Yeah.
So
I'd
and
say
moss.
I would say a mott.
So you got a like nice sleeping bag type of situation.
Yeah.
Something warm to keep.
And then
you at night.
see, I'm very much into cowboy camping, so like it depends on the weather. If the weather's not like freezing temperatures or whatever, then like I'm fine with just sleeping out type of thing. I would say rope.
Rope.
That would be my kit. That would be my kit for sure.
Locking in.
Yeah, logging in. What's the thing that I didn't?
Well, I
put
hope
on
you
my
enjoy
list?
making friction fires, because
Oh,
you're gonna.
man. I didn't even think about
You're gonna be
that.
rubbing
That
2
was it.
sticks together.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like the days of old.
Oh, man.
That's like the one thing where I was like,
Oh,
I don't want to give
yeah.
it to him.
No,
but
fire
I
starter
do
would have
think
been the
that
one.
even though some survivalists think that's kind of like weak, Like,
but
dog,
it's like,
hell
dude,
no,
no,
dude.
it's so hard. It's so
Trying to
hard.
make a
dude.
fire is a
It's
real
hard to
skill.
make a fire with lighter fluid, like
Yeah,
let
yeah.
alone trying to make it without anything else. Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But I locked in, so I
So I
can't.
think we both
Can't
made
take
our
it back.
mistakes. I
Yeah.
have a photo of Brent
But not a
asking
knife.
if I'm up,
You up?
and Brent is sitting there.
Yeah, I'm like fighting for my life to make a fire.
But hey,
I have beef
so what-
jerky though. So,
so what is your? That is true. You do have a source of food for a while.
I should have said a compass.
I have a compass.
Should have said a compass.
Asshole.
Damn.
I have a compass in my multi-tool.
Well, actually,
it's probably a
no,
compass.
I
but-
don't need a compass because I know how to find my directions with the sun. So I'm chilling, and I know how to find it like without that. I can make a sundial.
Rises in the west, sets in the sets in the
Rises in the east, sets in the west,
Then yeah,
and then west is always right of
Yeah.
north.
Yeah.
So you wait till sundown, and then if west is to your right, then
Wait.
north is in front of you.
west is always right of north, north, east, south, southwest. So if you're facing north, east
If
is
I'm
to the right.
If I'm facing north, and the sun is to my right, then that's west. And then south is behind me, and then east is to my left.
Wait, slower.
Actually, wait. No, I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
Yeah,
It's the other way.
east.
It's the other way. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I
So
was like-
east is right.
East is right, west
yeah.
is left.
Yeah. So wait till sundown.
We would last so long, guys.
Oh, dude.
We'd make it so many.
It's all right. I'd only get 2 directions wrong out of 4.
So tell me, kind of like I did, what's your first week strategy, and then your basic strategy moving forward after
So
that?
my first week strategy, because I'm not worried about food and I have like a good water filtration device, like the bag. Like I'm gonna say like the bag one, because the bag one comes with like the tablets and everything that you put in it, and then you do all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
My first thing is just to find water, period. Like if it's a stream, if it's the ocean, any of that kind of stuff. That's the first thing I'm going for. And then I'm going to get the bag filled.
Sure.
Once the bag is filled, I'm not even worried about shelter. I'm not like, that's not a thing unless it's like snowing type
Mhm.
of weather. If it's not snowing, then I'm like, okay, I'm pushing on, right? First thing I'm doing is I'm getting my bearings as far as like what the directions of everything is. And then I'm trying to get to the coast. If I can get to the coast, then I know exactly like how far I can go a certain way. So then I'm not worried about any other directions. And then at that point, I'm like, okay, kind of got my bearings. I know where I'm at. I know where I'm going, type of thing. Stay where a steady stream of water is. Or if it's the ocean, if you have one of those packs, it can do a lot for you. So I'm going to do that. The problem is I don't have a fire starter, so I can't boil any water, which is going to suck.
You could. You just suck
Oh,
ass.
I could. I just no, actually, I probably
probably-
wouldn't. I probably wouldn't because I don't think I could do it. But yeah, find water. Depending on how much beef jerky comes in the pack, I'll live off beef jerky for a minute. But yeah, my first thing is always going to be water. Second thing, I'd make a spear, because then I'd have some way of like getting food, and I would
Potentially
have
getting fish
yeah.
and stuff.
And
Or
then,
any small game.
and because I have a hatchet or an axe, might try and build a boat. I mean, that might be the first
Week 1.
week 1. Yeah, because if I can make a boat, you got to cut down one tree. If you can cut down one tree and it's like, big enough for you to like hollow out to make something like a canoe or something like that, something that's buoyant and something that can float, I'm going to try and do that, because then I can get like in deeper water where it'd be easier to get fish. So I'd start with that. Fish you can eat raw too. So it's like if I can't get a fire started,
You can.
you can.
It could still lead to medical issues.
Anything can lead to medical issues when you're surviving in the wilderness.
You just don't want to cook your fish because someone forgot a lighter.
Well, yeah, but like you don't gotta say it like that, all right? You don't gotta say it like that. But
So this man.
And then-
on week 1 so far has filled his bag with water. He has made a spear like a full mountain man. Doesn't even live in a home.
No home. No.
He just
home.
walks the dirt
I
trails.
will take the canoe, flip it over, and I will sleep under the
Dude has
the
hollowed
canoe.
out a whole tree.
It
Week
sounds like
one.
a plan. It sounds like a plan to me. I don't know about
Oh,
you.
man.
But...
With all that strength he's getting from the beef jerky.
Depending if it's like beef jerky we have over here, you got like half of your full pack of beef jerky. So I'm eating one jerk a day. That's my
Oh man.
yeah, no, dude. Hey, I mean honestly that would work because the canoe could serve as my home, my temporary home. Cause I got the little blow up mattress or whatever. I got my cloak which serves as my blanket. So I can just sleep under the canoe, the hollowed out canoe.
True.
And then
Somewhere off in the distance.
at some
Somewhere
point
off in the
try and
distance
figure
of the
out
forest
fire.
you're in, wherever I'm at in this contested show, you'll just hear.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, there's Joey. There he is, scaring all the game my way. And that's Joey getting attacked by a bear.
We were one.
Yeah, it would be great, man. We'd definitely
So
survive. I mean,
once-
we would survive together for
Yeah,
sure.
we would last longer. 'Cause
But
we could combine plans. We could
yeah,
do things together. and
we could
work
bring
things
10
out.
different items that the other person has. Yeah, like a
So,
flashlight.
After your first week, after you've made your boat, you likely have a hopefully somewhat stable version of gathering food and water. What's your generic plan as time just goes on until the end of the show?
I mean, as soon as I have like a relatively steady stream of either of food and water, then I'm going house. But I'm thinking brick house or like a stone house.
Brent thinks he's a superhero.
What is stone house, bro? What about it? Like,
Okay. Didn't you say? Did I mishear you? Did you say brick
I
house?
did it at the beginning, and I changed it to stone because I realized what I said. I'm
Yeah, in my
making my
mind,
own brick.
I
I'm
was like,
making
this
my own
guy's
brick.
gonna be rolling out clay.
How I'm finding clay is another matter. That's
Dude. Okay.
yeah, no.
Because a stone house
stone,
is
yeah.
fine. I've seen a lot of the survivalists do it. It's
Yeah.
basically just rock stacking with some kind of sticky-ish substance, whether that's mud or moss or
Yeah.
combination
Yeah.
of different elements. That's fair.
Yeah, just that. I mean, I'm banking off of like if it's like good wool, like 40% or something like that. That's that's gonna trap in heat as far as a blanket.
Yeah.
So it's it's one of those day by day. I definitely have a raised bed too, so that way I'm not like sleeping on cold ground because that could definitely make or break it for sure. Get a little bit higher up, but yeah, stone would probably be the way to go. Either that or make a hobbit hole where I'm like digging into the side of a mountain type of thing.
Yeah.
And, just making a cave or finding a cave or something like that where I just have an enclosure where I'm not having to work too hard and burn too many calories. Probably be like a cave or something at first for sure. But knowing me, if I'm by a coast or something, I'm gonna be swimming too. I'm gonna be that guy. I'm like, well, might as well enjoy it. I'm gonna, I don't know, make a surfboard or
I mean,
something.
if
and
your food and water situation are fine,
because I got to keep
that's
the mental
okay.
up, I got to keep
no,
the mental
sure.
up. So
But my worry, another thing I see a lot is that calories are wasted.
oh yeah, calories
super
are
fast
wasted
if
as soon as
you
you start
drain
working
energy,
hard. Yeah,
Swimming could, I know some people
true,
their
yeah.
boats have gone down and they're in the middle of the cold water and they have to exert all of their energy.
but that also depends
in the
on where
cold to
you're
get
at
back.
too,
It's
because
true, but
if
most
it's
water's
not,
cold. I mean, it won't be freezing necessarily, dependent on where we're at. But I mean, cold water's cold water. and
yeah,
you're
cold
still
water
gonna be
is.
using a
I
lot of
mean,
energy.
shivering burns calories.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
yeah.
literally already against you. If it's cold
If your boat goes
whatsoever.
down, dude, you're gonna get back and you're gonna be like,
Yeah, and I'm not gonna have anything, bro. I'm not gonna have no tools, none of. It's like all of the, all the wood is wet. There's no like that would be my luck. If there's gonna be a storm that rolls in, there's no dry wood. It's over, bro.
oh man.
Yeah. It's gonna
Well,
be it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
I
Well,
like your plan. I like the difference in our plans. I think
it's great.
before we wrap up this episode, I think Chad has enjoyed listening to us rant about our survival skills and just how we probably both are.
Yeah.
But I want to let's
If you're an alone contestant, please tell us how. Please rate our plans because they're
Yes.
not good.
they're probably really bad.
100% bad.
I want to wrap around one last time before we call it a night tonight. Back to something we talked about right at the beginning. Let's go back. Let's circle one more time back to because I think there's a little bit more to explore with Shadow Man, because it actually does sort of relate back to the wilderness.
It does.
In a way.
It
And I
does.
would love for you to kind of tell us why and tell chat kind of how this sort of actually connects back to my story.
Oh yeah, yeah,
you
definitely.
don't mind.
Well, we've had an episode literally called "Weirdness in the Woods," and
Yes.
we talked a lot about just all the weird, spooky things that happen, like within the wilderness, and just folklore and culture and religious like views where things just kind of come out of the woods creepily.
Mhm.
You know, a lot of like spirit things going on, a lot of, with a topic that we're going to be talking about at the end of the season with Missing 411. I mean, there are some weird things going on within the wilderness.
It's very true.
And we've had our own experiences where weird things have definitely happened to us while we've been in the woods, and it's no joke, man. There is no joke. I completely understand why people in the land, the era before us, they definitely talk about a lot of weird stuff that happens, and let me tell you, it probably happens. It probably happens, and it's no joke. But so tonight's weirdness in the woods, if you could call it. I actually got back, like, quite literally before I had seen whatever shadow person was in the back of my truck. I just came back from a hike. Notorious, if I'm pretty sure we've mentioned the names, Heart Rock and
Yes,
in
I think
Crestline.
we've definitely mentioned it before.
It's definitely
Oh my god, you had a hat very similar. I'm sorry, this is like
Joey's looking up the
some
video
of the
for us.
episode. Yeah, I'm looking up some of the episodes that were in correlation to this weirdness.
Oh my god,
but
that's
you
so
had a very
weird.
similar hat. At
Yeah.
that same time we talked about this, or at least the second occurrence for me, because this was the second time I saw Shadow Man. But anyway, yeah, just thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's interesting for sure. That's a little weird. But so let's just say, for there being so much stuff happening in the woods, the correlation between all of this is, yes, I indeed came back from a hike in the woods. And as soon as I came back, I seen my little friend in the back of my truck. Now,
For those who need a reminder, the photo will be back on screen.
yep,
There you go.
yep, it's right there. It's right there, guys. But Joey's first experience with the quite literal same thing. Joey, why don't you pull up with your picture where?
Yes,
Yeah.
my picture was right here. For any of you who want to see it, this was mine compared to Brent's.
Now you wanna tell chat what we had just gotten back from doing
Yeah, so
before that picture?
for me, with that day, I don't know if we already mentioned it in this episode, but I mentioned that this happened on September 11th, 2023, when I first took that photo. We had just gotten back from a trip up to Heart Rock Trail, up in Crestline. And
Yeah.
we had, I don't remember if we necessarily went to any stores or restaurants or lakes or anything, but we were definitely at Heart Rock, and we had just gotten back down to our home, or Brent's home in this case, because this is where it happened. And yeah, that's when I first had my occurrence. And that's when I took the photo.
So it's a little strange, and I'm a pattern seeking person. I like to find, I'm a firm believer of too much of a coincidence is not a coincidence. I think that there's a lot of things that happen for a reason. And something that is interesting to me that we didn't actually find out until tonight
Mm-hmm.
is when this happened. Obviously, again, I was at my house. When the first time it happened, it's also at my house. And we told my mom immediately. My mom is a very big, she's a very big believer in this kind of stuff, And when I had come home today and I told her about it, first of all, I walked through the door and the first thing she said was, "What'd you see?"
Mm-hmm.
And I
She just
was
knew.
already like, oh, that's even worse, because that means it's on my face visibly that I seen
Mhm.
something weird, right? And so I showed her the picture, and the first thing she said, and a lot of people have seen this picture. Now, chat, you guys have seen this picture, right? You guys have seen both pictures.
Here it is
We
again.
have noticed we have noticed that many people see many different things with these pictures. Some people think that there's nothing, that it's just, light reflection, which is fair. I mean, that's fair. We thought it
Mhm.
was too at the beginning.
Yeah.
We were like, this is definitely, reflection, right? For sure. Some people see quite literally a shadow person in the pictures. But my mom, and this is the first time she brought it up, um, she said that my picture looked like it was the outline of a wolf, which is interesting to
Yeah.
say the least. And then you came over. We ate dinner together. And what did my mom tell you that your picture looked like?
She mentioned that to her, it all it always looked like it always looked like a bear to her, like the outline of a bear's head.
Yeah.
Some people will likely be able to see it. Some people will not. I mean,
And that's fine. If you don't see it, that's cool.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I didn't see it at first either. I
Mhm.
still don't really like see it necessarily like that.
I don't completely see it on mine.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I do low key see a wolf in yours.
See, that's crazy. So as you guys know, if you guys have been
If
watching,
you didn't, cue the.
yeah, if you guys haven't noticed, our us in the podcast is a bear and a wolf, right? And
What?
huh? I mean, we quite literally have a bear right behind you.
This is my cousin John.
Yeah.
This is
Barry.
my uncle Phil. That's me.
That's actually Joey.
And then you also have Brent.
Yeah. So,
You don't have any wolf.
I
on
don't.
yours.
I
What the
don't.
hell?
I need something. I need something to go up there. We'll get it
We'll
soon.
get there,
We'll
we'll
get
get
it soon. But so I'm not gonna say that, it's a coincidence or anything, but it's a little strange. It's a little strange. And my mom said could very well be our spirit animals. Could very well be there's a lot. I mean, even in Native American folklore and culture and everything like that, we also live, like, where we live is very Native American ground. Very has a lot of rich um, culture having to do with
Mhm.
Native Americans, all this kind of stuff. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities that there is something that coincides with all of that.
Yeah.
it is strange that we came from the mountains both times where we have finally seen this
Yeah,
stuff.
that is a weird correlation in my opinion too. That both times I mean, it was only you in this case. You were alone.
Yeah.
But it is weird that both times one of us had been to Hard Rock.
Yeah.
So.
And it is also, I mean, I don't know about Joey per se, but I know for me, wolves have been in my family for, I would say, generations at this point. I mean, even when I was young, and I have a feeling I talked about this briefly on the pod before, but when I was young, around like second, third grade, I actually went to a wolf sanctuary
Mm-hmm.
when I was young, and got to go out and actually be. It sounds scary when like you realize I was a little kid when all this is happening, but I actually got locked in a cage with wolves, and
That's safe.
yeah, it was great. But there was one wolf there that essentially whined the whole time when I would leave the cage and like leave its like presence. It would, it would like, I guess, cry for dogs. I've only had one dog and I was like really young, so I don't really know much, but you have dogs.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I would ask, does Moose like kind of do that? Like if you like walk away after giving them some love or something like that, you kind of
Dog, sometimes that
like kind of.
asshole will walk into my room. I'll be laying on my bed. I saw him 10 minutes ago. He'll sit at the edge of my bed, look up, and just like.
so yeah,
Yeah,
so that's the thing that dogs do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this wolf did that. Like every time I would like leave its presence, period. And the people who ran the wolf sanctuary, because it was a sanctuary to basically like rehabilitate wolves that could not be in the wild anymore due to like either injury and like all that kind of stuff.
Safer having all the defect wolves in the
pretty much
with the child
and they
in the
locked me in
enclosure.
with that fool. They locked me in with that fool. But she had said it's so weird that that's happening because that's the alpha of the entire pack that's here. Like that is like the alpha male out of this entire pack, and he doesn't do that like with anybody. Like we've never seen him do that. He's never even done that with any of the workers or the volunteers, all that kind of stuff. And it left like such an impact on me that I actually was given a clump of his hair that was just from them, like brushing them, all that kind of stuff. Like, excess hair
You
falls
don't
off.
still have it, do you?
I do.
Do you?
I do. I really need to find it. But yeah, I do have it. And they gifted me it. Like I didn't pay for it or anything. They put it in a little glass jar with a little cork on it, and they wrapped a leather band around it, and you could wear it as a necklace. And they basically were like, hey, because this is like such a special moment, we've never even seen anything happen like this. We want you to have it. And so they gave me it. And to this day, still have it. Need to find it somewhere in my it's in my grandma's room because that used to be my room.
On the premises.
It's on the premises for sure. But it meant so much to me, and ever since I just was like, wolves are
your thing.
Are the thing, And yeah, I have other animals I love and everything, but wolves are just on a whole other level of just say like misunderstood creatures. I think there's just such a beauty about them, and the way they just navigate the world and like what they do. And as far as like, a lot of people like the lone wolf mentality and everything, but like wolves are anything but that. They run off a pack, they run off of group leadership, they run off of like being together, being one with a family that's not your own blood. And I think that's, I mean, looking back at it now that I'm older, I feel like I run the same way. I grew up with like hardly any family. No, but I just think there's just such a beauty to it, and whether or not it is a wolf spirit guide or just a scary wolf creature, I guess, that chills in the back of my truck, or
Yeah, to be fair, for all we
you know,
know, it could just be anything. I
it
mean,
could be anything.
it might not even be wolf related.
It might not, but I would like to think, I would like to imagine that out of everything we've been through and out of how much we have made our persona about a bear and a wolf, I would like to think that maybe there's a reason why we chose those, that it wasn't just, our love for the animal, but maybe there's a background reason, like within our genes, within who we are as people, and our souls, just how we act and how we
I'd have to
relate,
do some research on mine, because the only background bear thing I can think of is that my dad used to love the Coca-Cola polar bears.
Dude, my mom does too.
Yeah,
That's
so
like
that's
her,
the
it's her
only
thing.
thing I can think of, but I'm not sure. I mean, other than, like you said, I have been associated to bears for a long time in my life, like in high school.
Even when we were young too.
Yeah.
I mean,
So, I mean, yeah, there could be some correlation to it. I don't know. But yeah, hopefully it's not anything menacing. Like I said,
I
after
would like to think it's not. I mean, at the same time, we also both said, like, there's no fear. Like it was
well, in the
like
moment, I
it was
like
like
teared
a
up when I started to
what?
come to grips with that it could be a shadow thing.
Yeah, but that was more like shadow people. Now I'm like, oh, like it'd be nice to think that
Nice to think. That's the problem.
It'd be nice to think it's a spirit guide and not something that's been following me around for my whole life, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a little scary.
You never know. You never know. But
Yeah.
so yeah, it's a wild story. Brent has now experienced. He's experienced it just like I did. Very strange that the photos are very, like, both so similar in nature. There's a lot to unpack with the fact that, yeah, it was both times hard rock. It very well could be potentially linked to our personas.
It could very well be linked to shadow people.
It could
We
be.
don't-
We don't really know. If any of you have any information on any of this,
The only other thing I could think of is like the Night Stalkers, and those things are scary as hell, bro.
yeah,
So
I
I
don't
don't
even
really.
want to think about this, whatever it is, being menacing. 'Cause I'll cry. I'll cry.
I'll cry right now.
Yeah. But yes, thank you for sharing, my friend. Thank you for filling Chat and I in.
Of course, it only happened like
Today.
2 hours before we recorded. So, I mean, had to share. You guys are the first to know. So,
I don't think mine happened day of this, because when I talked about mine on the podcast, it was the second time I had seen a shadow person.
oh, you're right. You're right.
But I don't think it was the day of that I told you. I mean, I don't know. I can't remember. That episode was posted June 23rd last year. But I don't really remember if that was like the day that I saw it or if it was like a day or two after, because I don't remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, yes, thank you so much for sharing. I hope this was a good episode for everybody. I actually
Yeah.
enjoyed it. I thought it was
Yeah,
good.
It was
Talking
good.
about
It
the
was good.
woods again.
I love the woods.
Hopefully, like most of our other Woods episodes, this one will just randomly blow up. Like,
Yeah, dude. Every single woods related one. We've
Yeah.
had some good
people seem to like it when we
talk about what our
do-
podcast
yeah,
is
do
about.
the shit we were supposed to do.
It's fine.
Since we talked so much about survival today and that kind of vibe, I think question for Chat this week, I would like to be, if you had 3 items on your person alone in the wilderness, we had 10. You guys only
You guys
get
get 3.
What would those things be? It's gotta
Make
be,
sure you had a fire starter.
yeah, pretty much jerky, fire starter,
and a knife.
and a knife.
That's all you
Joey's
need.
nudes.
Joey's soapy titty pics. That's all we need. Quite literally, I just need 3 of those. Those are my 3 items.
Yeah, I'll
That's
die
it.
happy.
Yeah, those are it, dude.
So yeah, let us know. Let us know. Obviously,
I'll peel bark off with my teeth if I have to. If that means I get 3 pics, dude, that's crazy.
Oh my god, I hate it here.
God ain't got nothing to do with that.
Oh man, dude. Well, yeah, let us know. You can either comment down below, or you can message us on Instagram or X at Woodsman Pod.
Don't worry, I'll respond.
You could also email us, since no one wants to ever email us, but you could. thewoodsmanpod@gmail.com if you ever wanted to. Be nice.
Yeah, and we before we've made it seem almost like a threat, but we'll never threaten you guys to support. But if you guys do enjoy the show and you really like what we do and you want to keep us running and staying afloat, you can always head over to Patreon. Every dollar counts.
I'll threaten you. If none of you go over to our Patreon right now and subscribe and give us some funds,
I will send you 3 soapy pics. And that's a promise and a threat.
So get on it, chat.
Please. Please.
I think we're pretty much good to go, though. And you got any final closing statements? Anything you want to leave chat with?
Yeah, just, if you guys run into a shadow person in the woods, just say hi to them, don't act scared, because they can sense fear, and they can smell it on you. So just leave them like a peanut or something, yeah, like how you would feed a squirrel.
Just leave a peanut, feed them for a few months, and then when you get really hungry,
you'll be your best friend, and then
shoot it with an arrow.
When you get hungry, you can just eat them. So
we'll leave you with that.
Well, we've been your hosts, Brent Murphy
and Joey Rugger,
and I'm tired. Bye.
The Woodsman Podcast is actively reading and responding to anything and everything on Instagram and our email.
If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about the show, or would like to possibly be on the show, you can email us at thewoodsmanpod@gmail.com.
Make sure to keep up with all things Woodsman related on Instagram and X at WoodsmanPod.
Don't forget to rate, like, and subscribe to the Woodsman Podcast wherever you get your podcasts, with video exclusively on YouTube and Patreon.
Make sure to follow our personal accounts at Strange Kids and Piemaster J on all platforms. The Woodsman Podcast is co-produced by Brent Murphy and Joey Rugger.
Recorded at Elite Sound Studios, located in the Inland Empire.
Written by Brent Murphy.
Technical support by Eric Bessero.
Video editing by Joey Rucker. And blood, sweat, and tears by all of us.
Any additional content by the Woodsman Podcast may not be used without our permission. Copyright Cabin 13 Productions. And remember, if the berries taste funny, they're probably not berries.